Hi, I'm Too Tall Tyler. Last year I made an industry set, mostly as an experiment to try out some ideas I had, and I got some interesting results. Some things worked, some things didn't, um, and I thought I'd make a video to show other industry set creators what worked and maybe give some ideas for things they might like to add to their own sets. My industry set is called Improved Town Industries. The name from that comes from the original idea, which was to locate industries near towns. This is by far my favorite part of the set because it makes the world generation look a lot more like real life. Factories are no longer in the middle of a field, miles away from a town, where real factories, at least until the modern day, weren't. They were generally near towns where workers could get to them, and you could get your goods and things delivered without any problems. This is most noticeable on a low density map. So here I've got very low town density, and between towns you've got some coal mines and forests and oil wells, but no factories. Nothing that requires a lot of workers. Everything is near town. So you've got Pondwood has a factory right outside the town limits. Drunding Stone has an oil refinery. Also, towns require a certain population for industries to spawn. It's currently set to 300 people per industry. And the reason I would like to make it higher, but in Improved Town Layouts, which is my town set that I'm also using here, a lot of towns are relatively small. This is a city, so it's 913 people is large for an Improved Town Layouts city, and it's especially they're even smaller earlier on before you have apartment buildings and modern houses. I scaled back the population by a quarter before 1850 to allow old horse-drawn vehicles to keep up. Yeah, so one thing I think would be interesting would be to have a higher population requirement per industry, which might even force a player to grow a town before an industry becomes available. I haven't done that mostly because of the early house set population balancing that I've done with Improved Town Layouts, as well as I'd get so many bug reports about people playing with town growth scripts where the town needs goods to grow, but none of the towns are big enough to have a factory. So I'm leaving that alone for now. Someone else can figure that out. But 300 population, I haven't had a problem with factories spawning in at least one city, even on the earliest maps. Factories become available in 1800 in my industry set. That's actually something I could talk about in another video. I won't get into it here, but all of my industries are available at certain dates. So you can actually start as early as 1700s, and you won't have modern looking stuff like the paper mill, which wasn't invented until 1885, I think, which is the first large-scale paper production, at least in the United States. So if there's interest, I can talk about that in a future video. I can also talk about a parameter I have which makes only primary industries spawn, so you have to fund secondary industries yourself. And I made those quite expensive, so it's sort of like an industry tycoon type gameplay. But I'm getting on a tangent. Another feature that's sort of related to industries spawning near towns is industries now have workers. And this is both for primary industries like iron ore mines, as well as secondary industries like steel mills. For iron ore mines, they have a production level which works on the regular base game production mechanics. So if you give good service, production will increase. If you give poor service, it'll decline. I would like to tie these two together. So iron ore and passengers, there's a relationship between the two, but I never figured out the code to do so, and I don't really care enough, to be perfectly honest. The steel mill, or secondary industries, by contrast, their production is actually part of the conversion. So when iron ore is delivered, it produces 1 ton of steel and 1/4 passengers. So for every 4 tons of iron ore or coal or whatever that's delivered, it produces 1 passenger. I found that's a pretty good ratio. Where this is a pretty busy steel mill, relatively busy. You know, I've got some long trains serving it and some ships carrying coal, and it's a single bus is able to keep up with it. Yeah, there's a single double-decker bus is able to keep up with the passengers. What I like about this is it gives you a reason to connect towns and industries. It makes towns more than just something that's in the way. I mean, they can be in the way still, but it kind of gives a little bit of reason for towns to exist. You can connect them up to your factories, bring some workers in. The workers don't actually do anything. You don't have to bring them anywhere. The industry doesn't care. It's just more stuff to transport. But I like the thematic element that it adds to the game. Now you'll notice this industry does not accept passengers. The tiles do. Each industry tile accepts passengers in addition to everything else. But the industry does not formally accept it. The reason for that is the chain for passengers would be an absolute nightmare if every single one of these is also listed in destination. It's not so bad here because who looks at the list for passengers? But all of these would also be on the right side here. It would go to the houses and then every other industry. So I tried that at the beginning. It was a disaster. Now the tile's accepted, but the industry doesn't do anything when passengers are delivered. Now this is designed to work with symmetric cargo distribution for passengers. So this produces passengers. It produces 40 passengers a month, and the town tries to send, from my understanding of cargo distribution, how it works, it tries to send 40 passengers back. Like this bus, this bus is full of people going to the coal mine. Sorry, going to the steel mill. So that's how you get your round trip. People going to work. You create them coming from work, and then cargo distribution sends them back to work. It's a little weird, but it works. And it works, the cargo flow legend and stuff shows that pretty accurately where the links are balanced. And I need more buses going to the coal mine. The other thing I want to talk about in this video is waste. Now, I'm using improved town layups in addition to improved town industries. And when these two sets are loaded together, houses produce waste. This waste can go several different places. You can send it to the power plant for incineration. You can send it to the pigs send it to the farm to be fed to the pigs, which then you eat and get whatever diseases and heavy metals they ate. It was a disgusting but accurate real-life practice for a while. Or you can send it to the recycling center. So I have this truck picking up waste from 2 different stations in town. It doesn't produce a lot of waste, but it produces some, and it's interesting to in a large city can fill the train, which then you can ship to a recycling center. I also would like to see some game script integration that makes it so you have to transport a town's waste in order for it to grow. Otherwise, it'll be choking on its own garbage and won't grow. But I don't know how to write a game script yet. In this set, one of my design concepts was generic cargoes that can be routed to specific destinations using cargo distribution. That was one of the ideas that didn't work as well as I'd hoped. So that's fine. But in this set, I have generic recycled materials that are produced by the recycling center. They can go to the farm as organic waste, to the factory as recycled plastics, chopped up and used for Bernie's mittens or whatever. Recycled paper going back to the paper mill, that's big business here in the United States. Scrap metal going to the steel mill. If your industry set obviously uses different cargoes, specific cargoes, scrap paper and scrap metal, that would obviously be a better choice. But the more of the point is modeling the collection network of picking up waste from around the town and bringing it somewhere. It's pretty interesting, I think, in the game, and it's different. A lot of the time there's no reason to have trucks. Trains are where the money's at. Why would you bother with setting up stations and routes in the city? There's really not a gameplay reason to do it, besides maybe it's fun, you enjoy it. With waste, you have to do that if you want to transport waste. I mean, you can't just build a big train station on the outskirts and get enough people. You have to go out and collect it, and it's kind of a reverse distribution network where you pick it up from multiple destinations and bring to one destination, which is actually, I've done the opposite with mail in improved town layouts, where houses don't produce much mail. It's mostly produced by commercial buildings, and then you distribute it out to the neighborhoods. I digress. Waste is pretty interesting, and if any of you watching this has an industry set that you'd like improved town layouts to make waste or really any other cargo for, it's really easy for me to add. So just contact me on Discord or whatever, and I'd be happy to add compatibility, work with you to add compatibility, cross-compatibility with improved town layouts. That's all I'm going to get into today. Again, if there's interest, I can talk about some more things. Otherwise, thanks for watching.